But I would also say that I think that it would also benefit any chance of a peace settlement that if Netanyahu wasn't in charge anymore. I mean, apart from anything else, this is an unbelievable breach and failure of security and military. I think part of that can be apportioned to the extraordinary social unrest that's been enveloping Israel since his cabinet, full of a lot of right-wing headbangers, frankly, some of whom have actually called themselves fascists, have tried to take on the judiciary and the Supreme Court. I don't feel comfortable about that. What do you feel about that? And do you feel that Netanyahu is the right person? Does it need a completely clean leadership now, both in Palestine and Israel, to try and get to somewhere approaching peace?
The democratically elected government of Israel has not had a change in policy, despite the fact that until very recently, Netanyahu was not the prime minister of Israel. It was a joint government run by Naftali Bennett, as well as by Yair Lapid, who's a member of the hard left who dramatically opposes Benjamin Netanyahu. Today, they formed a unity government between Benny Gantz, who's a member of the center left, and Benjamin Netanyahu, who's a member of the center right, Likud party in Israel. This is not, when it comes to foreign policy, the reality is that since the rejection of any peace deal by Mahmoud Abbas in 2009, when Ehud Olmert was the prime minister of Israel, there's been very little disagreement between any of the parties with regard to foreign policy because they do not have a peace partner. The Oslo process was killed by the Palestinians, and it was killed by the Palestinians when they rejected multiple peace offerings by Ehud Barak, by Ariel Sharon, by Ehud Olmert, over and over and over again, by Yitzhak Rabin, by Shimon Peres. Benjamin Netanyahu himself, in the Wye River Accords of 1998, handed over significant portions of the West Bank to the Palestinians. So you can say that Netanyahu's a problem. That's fine. But the reality
I was
is
really
that
asking you whether I was asking you whether you feel he is a problem, that actually all the division that's been caused by his attempt to usurp the power of the Supreme Court, as many people see it, all that division in Israel has actually diminished his authority, and that it's come at a time when you really need somebody with real authority.
Well, I mean, I don't think that right now that's really the question, considering, again, it's a unity government, and I'm talking to everybody in Israel, and all of those divisions heal up in a moment when your children are being slaughtered at the border, as it turns out. So, you know, all of the judicial reform conversation is a separate conversation. We can critique how fast they went in terms of this coalition. They went too fast. They scaled it back. There were serious divisions in Israeli society about what kind of power the judiciary ought to have. There are many people on both sides, actually, who believe the judiciary had too much power. There are a lot of people on both sides who believe the government went too fast on that. Internal political divisions have become completely irrelevant here. If Netanyahu were replaced tomorrow by Benny Gantz, which is what a lot of Israelis would hope for, if that were to happen literally tomorrow, nothing would change. Nothing would change. And the reason nothing would change is because, again, this is an issue. This particular issue is about Hamas. This has nothing to do with the constituency of the Israeli government. You could find the most left-wing person in Israeli politics right now, which would be Yair Lapid. You could put him back in the prime minister seat, and he would be forced with exactly the same decisions that Netanyahu is faced with right now.